Tesla stock is down 10% the day after Q2 earnings, and everyone's frustrated. Tesla bears, Tesla bears are loving this, but Tesla bulls, some Tesla investors are really angry at the fact that it didn't 10x after this Q2 earnings call. Like, I don't understand what people were expecting in this earnings call. I've been sitting here for the past months, years, but for this Q2 earnings call, I've been sitting here for the past weeks and months saying that don't expect much. We're gonna have a bad earnings report. Now, maybe earnings call would be okay, but in this Q2, it was just a reassurance from Q1, whatever was mentioned in Q1 earnings call. It was reassured here in Q2, but surprisingly, actually, the report came better than expected. It actually beat earnings, which was actually pretty interesting, and the stock when Tesla misses earnings, the stock goes up. And when Tesla beats earnings, the stock goes down. Again, it all came down to the earnings call. And I'm not going to lie, the earnings call was downbeat. But there was nothing there for people to get so bearish on and, get so offended and get so pissed off and frustrated on. Like, I really don't understand what everybody was expecting. I thought the earnings call was going to be fire. And we did get some interesting things, but majority of things was just a reassurance from Q1 because it looks like if they say more, they would be not in trouble, but, they can't disclose it yet because they're still working on it. But nonetheless, it wasn't a bad Q2. That's what I'm trying to say. So in this video, calm down everyone. Don't panic. I have a message for you guys at the end of the video, what to do. So you guys just stay tuned. Let's go over it, right? The good and the bad of this earnings call and report, because there were some significant things that I do want to go over and some very bad things that I do want to go over as well in this Q2. So everyone relax, calm down. I bought more stock today, by the way. So, I mean, my conviction is stronger than ever. And if I can get Tesla stock on even a cheaper price, I'm down for it. So let's just get down to it. Smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and let's go. So let's talk about the earnings, right? The earnings was a beat, surprisingly. I thought it was going to be a miss, but it was actually a beat. 40 cents versus 39 cents. That was interesting. Cash was a little low. In fact, this was one of the quarters that they were actually negative in cash flow. I thought Q1 was going to be that quarter, but we got it in Q2. I don't think this is going to happen until maybe Q1 of 2026, that they're going to be negative cash flow again. But it's not a big deal. They still have $37 billion in cash sitting while they have robotaxis on the road. That's insane. And the thing is that this doesn't matter. This Q2 won't matter, Q3 won't matter, Q4 won't matter, because, again, this is not why we are invested in Tesla. We're not in it for the autos. We're not in it for the credits. We're not in it for any of these things. We're in it for the next projects that are about to come in like a tsunami. Give it 2-3 years to fundamentally change the company. And the fact that we have robotaxis on the road, that is the stepping stone. That is the first step. And we're going to talk about the important remarks on the earnings report, because this is what's going to help us understand some of these things. All right. Not in order, but these are some interesting things that we got to know going forward, because these are some little guidances that we have to know going forward, at least for the next 6 to 12 months. Actually, I would say I would argue 6 to 12 months. So some important things, right? Affordable models are set to come out in the Q4 of 2025. So literally next quarter, in a few more months. Elon did say that it's just a Model Y, but it's just a vehicle. That's just one vehicle. In the earnings report, it says vehicles. So there's many vehicles coming, probably, again, stripped down of the 3 and Y. I don't think there's a dedicated vehicle for this. It's just a stripped down 3 and Y because they want to use the capacity that they have, the same line. They did mention they want to fully invest in the current lineup. Then later they can make new lines. So this means that it's looking like 90% chance it's a strip down of Model 3 and Y. Maybe even the Cybercab with the steering wheel, which if that happens, man, that would be insane. That's all I'm going to say. But affordable models are coming in Q4 2025. That is a plus. 2 things that I want to quote from the earnings report that are very interesting, and I think the highlights of this Q2 earnings report. First one, our efforts to refine the robotaxi offering in Austin are not location specific and will allow us to scale to other cities quickly with marginal investment. In other words, we're not LiDAR, we're not limited to some geofence area. We can literally go to as many places as we can with great investment. That's pretty much what they're saying, is that we We are not limited. We can go as far as we want. This is big. This is important. And this is something that we already knew. But Tesla is telling us this, that we are not limited unlike other companies. The second quote here is, while we continue to execute on innovations to reduce the cost of manufacturing and operations over time, we expect our hardware-related profits by an acceleration of AI, software, and fleet-based profits. And guys, this is big because right now the reason why the earnings are not that good is because of auto margins, auto profits. These are low profits. But when you have AI, software-based, fleet-based, SaaS, we're talking about 40-50% margins here. Imagine seeing Tesla earning Q3 of 2029 above 40% in gross margins. Not even gross margins, maybe just margins, 40%. Thanks to the robotaxi. That is what we're talking about, and this is the significance here. We won't know it. We'll look back in 2029, 2020, 30, maybe even 2028, looking back today, going like, wow, I was so dumb to really focus on these auto things and being so worked up because Elon didn't say the right things in the earnings call and, I wasn't looking further ahead. This is why it's important to be a long-term investor. I clearly see this. This is why I'm buying more stock. I see this like clear as day. The other important remark here is energy gross profits is over 30%. Over 30%. That is insane. So these are important remarks that I do wanted to go over. They were very interesting ones. Now let's go to the good in the earnings call. Then we'll go to the bad because there was some bad, right? The earnings call, the good stuff. The one thing Elon said, or starting with the first one, is the robotaxi area in Austin to exceed Waymo's area in a week or two. Guys, this is massive. It took only 18 days for Tesla to go from deployment of robotaxi, which was on June 22nd, 18 days after, to that upside down Tesla logo. That was insane. And then they're talking about to go even exceed Waymo's new geofence area, which is bigger than the penis-shaped Tesla robotaxi area, in about a week or two. We're talking about scale like we've never seen before when it comes to the geofence stuff, to this robotaxi stuff. It took 16 months for Waymo to deploy in Austin to expand to where it is now. 16 months, and Tesla did it in 18 days. That is more than 26 times faster than Waymo. And they could go faster if they want. But safety is their number one priority, and they did mention that. This is big, man. This is big. You guys need to be focused on these things, not on the stupid auto stuff. If Tesla can grow their robotaxi area, their robotaxi vehicles, and reduce their safety drivers over time, that's all you guys need to know about. That is all you need to know. And it gets more juicier here. Bay Area, Florida, Nevada, they're underway too. 3 different cities and states. They're coming, which is massive, and this is going to grow, by the way. And here's the crazy part. They're expecting for robotaxi to serve around 50% of the US population by the year end. That is insane. That means it's by end of the year, it's going to be public. That's what it means. That is insane. You know how much profits that is for Tesla? This is why I'm more excited for Q4 2025 earnings report and earnings call than this Q2's. That is insane. 50% of the US population. Even if it's 25%, even if it's 15%, that is tens of millions of people. That is insane. Regarding Optimus, this was pretty interesting. Optimus Gen 3 prototype is going to be ready by end of the year, and volume production to start next year. They're aiming for 1 million units a year in 5 years. That's insane. And Elon says that if Tesla isn't, producing 100,000 Optimus robots per month in 5 years, he will be shocked. He will be surprised why that's not happening. So, man, I can't, my head, we're talking about tens and maybe $1 trillion revenue here just from Optimus alone if that happens. But that's insane. I can't wrap my head around Optimus, so we're going to leave that out. But that's what they said about Optimus. Very interested to see what Gen 3 is going to look like. We're already seeing some things, but nonetheless, insane. He mentioned that Dojo 2 scale is sometime next year as well, which that was also interesting because that went on hiatus for some time. But now it looks like they're doing scale on this as well. Elon also reiterated that the Cybercab is still 30 cents per mile. If not, it can go lower. RIP Uber, Waymo, Lyft, and other ride-hauling shares that can't do 30 cents per mile. That's incredible. But I think that means once they're fully scaled. I think when they first start out, it'll be north of $1, but 30 cents, maybe even going lower to 25 cents if Optimus is being used. Like that's what they said too, which is insane. One thing that I do want to point out here, which is very important, I want you guys to listen carefully. Elon said that robotaxi profits will start to show any significant or any meaningful significance in the second half of 2026. And this is the second quarter he's been saying this back to back. So this is pretty much saying that now until Q2 of 2026, earnings are not going to be good. But then Q3 of 2026, Q4 of 2026, you may see some significance due to robotaxi. Because next year, let's face it, we're going to see tens of thousands of robotaxis on the road, probably even 100,000 of robotaxis on the road. That's going to be insane for the earnings right off the bat. Profit margins are going to go up naturally because this thing has high margins, 50% plus, and we're going to see a lot of profits coming in because of that. So this was the good stuff, right? This was the good stuff, but there is some bad stuff that we got to go over as well. So, as I just mentioned, rough quarters are ahead due to EV credits going away and uncertainty. Now, we knew this, that EV credit is going to go away. We knew this. And I also knew, and I also know, and I've been saying this on the channel for a long time, is that this quarter doesn't matter. Next quarter doesn't matter. The quarter after that doesn't matter. They're going to be bad quarters. They're going to be bad numbers. They're going to be maybe a replicate of what happened here. Maybe worse, maybe some better, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about Q3 of 2025, Q4 of 2025. I care about Q1 of 2030. I care about Q2 of 2030. I care about that. I want to see what the progress is going with the robotaxi, what's going on. That's what I care about. That's when the more I see these FSD videos and robotaxi being scaled up and going to new places and improving, the more I'm going to buy the stock. Not because of 40 cents, 30 cents, they beat this, they missed that. Or Elon said this, Elon said that. No, I don't care about that. I care about the robotaxi stuff. I care about how this thing is going to progress. And if I'm seeing progress, which I'm seeing incredible fast progress, I'm going to keep buying the stock. Because this thing, once it's public and it starts to make revenue and profits, everyone's going to beg and wish they bought at these prices. Even the stock being down 10%, even if it goes down to 250 or 200, which I kind of hope it does because I do want to buy more stock. Right? Because again, I'm a long-term investor. I'm not looking for the next quarter or the next month for it to 10x, which it seems like a lot of these Tesla investors were looking for. If that's the case, shame on you and you deserve it to be read. Anywho, went on a little rant there. But nonetheless, rough quarters are coming. Be aware, but it's not the end of the world. This is temporary and this will pass. The second thing, this part was a little shocker to me, is that 50% of current Tesla owners have no idea about FSD, meaning that they have not even tried it. That is insane. Imagine in 2025, you're buying a Tesla and you don't know that the thing can drive itself. 50%. You know how much of that can be converted into FSD drivers? You know how this can bring up profits and revenues big time? So this is indeed a marketing failure on Tesla's part, and I really hope they can fix this. So this probably shocked me that like 50%, that is millions of Tesla owners. That is insane. That is insane. Another thing that I didn't like about this earnings call is that Elon, well, of course, his energy was low. I kind of wish his energy was a little bit upbeat, but that's okay. But he kept saying, Elon keeps saying that and promising a lot of stuff about next year. This is going to happen next year. That's going to happen next year. Like, add your personal cars to the Tesla robotaxi network next year. Dojo scale next year. Optimus volume production next year. He's putting a lot of things onto next year, which I don't like. And this is one of the main things that people got angry in this earnings call, which I don't understand why they would, but it's him promising things but not delivering them, which he didn't promise anything to happen in Q2. I'm just saying, right? In fact, a lot of things did happen in Q2, like robotaxi, that actually happened in Q2. The car delivering itself from production line to the customer's house, that happened in Q2. Megapack Shanghai, that happened in Q2. You know, more vehicles, that happened in Q3. But nonetheless, things are happening. But I think that's where most people are upset. But I don't like the fact that he's putting everything on 2026 because, yeah, I mean, some may actually happen, but most will probably need more time. Maybe until 2027, right? I just don't like the fact that he's saying next year. I would have been more cautious with that. So that's one thing I didn't like. The other thing that I didn't like is, well, not the thing that I didn't like, but a negative here or a bad here is that current financials are trash for any investors looking at the income statement, but it will be totally different in a few years. This is what we invest in. So if you're an investor, pure income value investor, if you look at the income statement, it's absolutely garbage. Like, it's really bad. But we do know that in the next 2 to 3 years, robotaxi and the energies and all these other things are going to explode the earnings and revenue to next levels. That's that. So that's one big negative thing. But if you're a long-term investor, it's not really much of a negative thing. I guess another thing that I want to add here as well is that Elon was talking about his 25% control. He was saying that hopefully the company can consider, but Elon is going balls to the walls with Optimus and Tesla. So I do think behind the scenes they already have a deal going on. But that was also a negative thing that I think I'm going to add in there, but I don't think it has much significance because I think they've already talked about it internally. Now, Gene Monster had some very interesting to say, and I 100% agree to what he had to say. Listen to this, because this is very important and interesting because it's coming from an analyst, and he has some interesting points. And I agree with these points because it makes sense. He says that Tesla call just ended. The stock is down almost 4.3%. It's almost 10% now compared to flat at the start of the call. There was no single trigger for the sell-off. Thank you. Yes, there's no reason for the sell-off. It was a steady decline throughout the call. Some factors that may have played a part. One, no clear metrics about what to expect this quarter from Austin. Bro, you're not going to expect, no one should expect anything about robotaxis until Q4 of 2025. They're still collecting data. We already got more information than we think that we can possibly get. Austin to exceed Waymo's in the next week or so. Bay Area, Florida, and Nevada, they're coming too. I mean, what else do you want? You want to know like how much they're going to make per vehicle, per ride, per trip. I mean, they're costing each trip to be $6.90. But that's not, we can't go based on that because once it's public, it's going to be base fare, it's going to be cost per mile. We need to wait until at least Q4 of 2025 to get this info. And I've been banging on this table for the past month saying this. So everyone needs to relax on that. And if they're expecting that, you're expecting too much right now. I'm going to say that. Second, comments that they need to fund autonomy from the balance sheet until it reaches scale raise questions about what profits will look like over the next year. There's not going to be any profits until next year. They need to chill. This is a brand new thing. Ask Waymo. I mean, Waymo has been out there for 10 years and they can't even make $1. They can't even make a profit. So why is it only Tesla zoomed only not, what is it now? A little over a month after this robotaxi being deployed. Everyone needs to relax. They need more time. That's insane. Third, the reveal that new affordable model will look just like the Model Ys raised concerns about potential cannibalization. Okay, I guess that makes sense, the Model Y thing. But again, it's not just one vehicle, it's vehicles. I think the Model 3 is part of this as well. But that's so efficient when it comes down to Tesla. Whatever is going to be on the current Model Y is not going to be on the compact version of the Model Y. I'm sure they're going to make it look much different than what the Model Y looks like in terms of specs. Maybe the design would look the same, but in terms of specs, it's going to look completely different. You won't have heated seats, you won't have maybe it'll be a two-door Model Y. I don't know, right? Everyone needs to relax. If everyone just can focus on what the long term is going to look like with this, no one's going to care about car ownership in the future with robotaxis everywhere. That's the main thing, but I guess it's hard for people to grasp. But anyways, here's the message. Here's what I think you guys should do, all right? Obviously not financial advice, none of that, but here's what I really feel about it, all right? I wrote it on X because it was just, the comments were ridiculous. And even the comments on this video, I think is going to be ridiculous. And don't be clowns, guys. Be more long-term. Don't think nothing's going to happen this year. I'll tell you that. My price checker is still 575. I think that's going to happen. 90% chance that's going to happen. But don't keep your high hopes for 2025. Maybe 2026. But here's what I really feel about it. I'm hearing a lot of Tesla investors bitching and moaning about yesterday's earnings call and how Elon only promises and never delivers. I have a solution for you. Sell your stock and move on. Seriously, like Ross Gerber, sell your stock and move on. But he ain't moving on. He's still going on TV shows talking trash about Tesla. He's not even an investor anymore, so that's just ridiculous. We all knew damn well that this quarter wouldn't be special or significant in terms of earnings and call. We also know that the next few quarters won't be special or significant, so I honestly don't know what y'all were expecting. I understand there wasn't high energy from Elon to this Tesla earnings call, and he sounded downbeat, but you try working 7 days a week on extremely hard and impossible problems. In my opinion, yesterday's earnings call was expected. Elon reassured everyone about exactly what Tesla has promised to do without saying too much. We just need to wait. That's it. Patience is required. For crying out loud, we have robo-taxis on the roads now and expanding 26 times faster than Waymo. If y'all can't be patient and compare other stocks being at all-time highs to Tesla, you're obviously going to be disappointed. This is a long-term investment, not a quarterly investment. Stop bitching, relax, take a breath, and think long-term. If you can't, sell your stock and move on. It's as simple as that. There's a lot of people who bought the stock literally right before this earnings call because they thought it's going to go up like 10-15%. And they're mad about that. Well, guess what? I hope you learn not to do such a thing anymore and be a long-term investor. Everyone knows a long-term of Tesla is going to be awesome. Everyone knows it. We can see it. We can sense it. We can taste it. It's in the air. We can even smell it. So everyone needs to relax and just be patient. I've been investing in the stock market for more than 10 years now. I think almost 12 years now. And the number one skill to have when it comes to this investing stuff is patience. If you have this, you're going to be wealthy in the long term. That's all I got to say. So if you believe in the long term and you believe in Tesla, you're buying this more stock on the cheap. What's wrong with that? And if you think that Tesla's going to 10x next month, sell your stock and move on. You're going to be disappointed. I think it'll go down more than it'll go up, in my opinion, in the next month or so, because people are realizing that, for the next 12 months, there's not going to be any significant movement in the EPS and earnings. So I think it's going to be more red than that. But if you can't be a long-term investor in Tesla, then sell your stock and move on. But if you're a long-term investor like I am, and I'm pretty sure the majority of you guys are who are watching, who have a brain and aren't clowns and have a good long-term vision of this company, you guys know exactly what to do. That's all I'm going to say. I brought a technical analysis on my channel, and we talked about where Tesla can be this year and the next 5 years. It was an insane thing. Check this video right here, and I think you guys will calm down a little bit because the noise right now is crazy, but the signals are rock solid. That's all I gotta say. Subscribe, guys. Become a channel member, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Let's go!